Virgil. Here.
Here.
Trustee Gray. Here. Johnson.
Here.
Azio.
Here.
Trustee Gandolfi. Here. Trustee Step. Here. Trustee Pease.
Yes.
Trustee Reese. Yes. Trustee Whitehall. Here.
Thank you. For those who are willing to join, we'll have Michael lead us pledge on the occasion. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So, I've been thinking about the word wisdom, and it's quite a word. There's a lot with that word, and so one thing is needed in this hour that we live in is wisdom. And so sometimes we might ask, well, what is wisdom? And there's a couple of different ways we can look at that. One of the best wisdoms is the Word of God. The Cambridge English Dictionary says it's the ability to make good judgments based upon what you have learned from your experience or the knowledge and understanding that gives you this ability. So it's a pretty good definition in that sense. There's a couple of passages of scriptures I'm going to read. Proverbs 2:6. For the Lord gives skillful and godly wisdom. From his mouth come knowledge and understanding. Proverbs 19:20. Listen to counsel, receive instruction, and accept correction, that you may be wise in the time to come. And that's one of the things that two of the verses that I really appreciate personally. So godly wisdom and wisdom in general has been sought after throughout all of history. And our forefathers sought it out when they were founding this nation. And one of my favorite paintings is a painting of the First Continental Congress in 1774 in Carpenter Hall in Philadelphia, when the entire Congress was on their knees and they were praying for wisdom before we declared the Declaration of Independence. And so that was our founding fathers. So if you look throughout history, all of our generals, including George Washington, every one of them, before they went into battle, they were seeking wisdom. Countless people in all walks of life seek wisdom out for daily living. And that includes all of us, and certainly in this room here. And so I would just like, if you want to, join me in a prayer, and I'm just going to ask for godly wisdom to come upon the decisions that we make day in and day out in here and in our lives too. Father, thank you that you are the author of all wisdom and all life. And so, Lord, we just cry out to you right now in this hour as we enter into this place, board meeting, making the decisions. Would you pour out your wisdom upon us? And I thank you for that. In the Lord's name, Jesus, amen.
For a reflection today, mine came from the fact that one time I was, some of my grandkids came over and I was reading a book, 200-300 pages, and their iPhones with little snippets of information in as much space as you're going to have on an iPhone. And at just about that time, I ran across the book from Caleb Carr, who's quite an accomplished author, and did work with the Council on Foreign Relations. And he said, it really hit me at the time, it is the greatest truth of our age, information is not knowledge. And with that, I have two other anonymous source quotes. The invention of autocorrect died, funnel tomato. In the case of fire, leave the building before posting. And I think it illustrates some of the implications, if not the contamination's too hard, but my feelings are some of that area. Between the little bits of information we can get on the screen of an iPhone from X or whatever Twitter is now, and actually within the covers of a book to exhaust the topic. Along these lines too, if anybody else has anything they'd like to offer for the any reflections, please, absolutely. This is not a solo presentation, and anybody else's reflections are more than welcome, strongly encouraged. So let's jump into the agenda for this afternoon. The first matter is the approval of the agenda itself. So make a motion and a second for that.
Yeah, I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Second. We need a second or we go home?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Teresa, would you please call the roll?
Trustee Whitehall. Trustee Reese. Aye. Trustee Thebes.
Yes.
Trustee Pandolfi. Aye. Lazio.
Here.
Trustee Step. Here. Trustee Cook.
Aye.
Trustee Virgo. Here. Trustee Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Gray. Aye. Motion carried.
Thank you. Next matter is the approval of the consent agenda. Give a motion and second for that.
I move the adoption of the consent agenda.
Thank you. Second. It's been moved and seconded to approve consent agenda. Any discussion? Okay, Teresa, please call the roll.
Trustee Whitehall. Aye. Trustee Reese. Aye. Trustee Thebes.
Yes.
Trustee Step. Aye. Trustee Pandolfi. Aye. Trustee Lazio.
Yes.
Trustee Johnson.
Aye.
Ray. Aye. Trustee Cook.
Aye.
Trustee Virgo. Aye. The motion carried.
Thank you. We have no visitors' comments nor awards and recognition. The next matter is that we should state for the record that we had our budgetary priority presentation at the time preceding this meeting, and our librarians report.
Right. Thank you. Okay, so for you, you all have a copy of the MCPL monthly. I wasn't going to make remarks, but I do want to direct you to one story in particular. At the Grandview branch, the staff there had coffee with a cop, and apparently it was so fabulous that it was featured on the news, if I'm not mistaken. A few of the trustees observed it. Sam Bagley, who's the manager of that facility, is absolutely wonderful. And their presentation on television clearly resonated with a number of our staff, the community. We want to thank them for their great work they do. And possibly one day we'll get a presentation from Sam of their work here at the library. And as usual, there's other stories, and there's just a lovely picture of diehard Kansas City Chief King fans on the cover. The next, as referenced in our earlier meeting, I want to spend or allot my time here to watch one of the videos that I mentioned from our Nice to See You series. It's a profile of library patron Linda Mayo, who's here with us today. She comes by way of Platte City, if I'm not mistaken, and intersected at some point with a current staff member, and he knew a little bit about her story. And she does great work in Platte County, and we decided to profile her as a part of this video series. So Brian, if you're ready, let's just all take a minute and watch this 4-minute video. And then afterwards, maybe say hello to Linda, and she can make some remarks if she wants to. I saw you flinch.
Storytelling has the power to build communities and bridge divides. Learning about the folks around you is a simple first step. Join us as we connect with our neighbors to hear their stories and explore the ways they bind our community together. We're Mid-Continent Public Library, and it's nice to meet you.
Okay, you guys ready? Okay. We are going to the library. We spend a lot of time at the library because everybody likes it. Okay, you guys ready? I'm Linda Mayo, and I work at the Farmer's House. When I first came to Shadow, I just felt this was like where I was supposed to be. And I just had a sense of purpose right when I walked in. I actually worked at a financial advisor firm as an assistant. I felt connected there, but I wanted to do more. I started to look for a nonprofit organization and got involved with the Farmer's House on the weekends. I transitioned into this role. I had to have a pay cut and everything. I was kind of scared about that. My dad was like, "What are you doing? You're a single mom. I mean, this does not seem right." I downsized my house and everything just to get ready to do this. I wanted to give back and I wanted to be a part of something bigger. Here, want to come with me? Let's go do that. You ready? Let's go back here, okay? And I am the coordinator of our CI program, which is community integration. So we're going to put it on for 4.5 minutes. A huge part of working here is being involved in who they are. Just some of the success rate from when I started to now is just amazing. A few of our farmers who I first started with who have come from a living at home. I mean, some of them were older, like we're talking, like 25, 30, they're still at home. And we've gotten them recently to live on their own. They have their own house, they have their own apartment. They're living with a group of roommates. That's a huge success. We try to keep positive throughout the day. It's not always easy, and mostly it's just a smile, It's just like being kind or smiling or just saying hello. I've been here almost 25 years, but I'm still very much a Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania girl, I try to get home as much as I can. I try to get home by every 6 months or so. My dad is struggling with cancer right now, and his positivity is just amazing. Even though he's struggling through a terrible disease, it's actually really hard, I'm gonna be honest, because I can't be there with him, but he keeps positive. It's a lot of calling, and just seeing them helps me, motivates me to keep going, talking him on the phone, and being encouraged that way. He'll be like, "You're doing a great job. You're giving so much back to, the community and the world." He's like, "I take it back when I told you not to leave because of money. This is actually what you should be doing."
Come and fill me with your glory, oh my Lord.
My community at my church really helps me just stay motivated and process, my life and my goals and what I need to accomplish. I think it's important to be who you are all throughout your life, and to have that as your trademark, and to show kindness wherever you are. That's important, to be that person in your community.
Yeah. So, Linda, thank you for agreeing to participate. I mean, it does take a lot to kind of open yourself up, share your story with a stranger, or maybe not, but anyway, but with a broader community, and we do appreciate that you did that, and really thank you. This is one example of some of the videos that we produced, but I think it does demonstrate the power in telling the story to people from our community. There's this confusion, I think, out there in the ether as to what happens inside of libraries. And the reason for doing these videos is to clear up the confusion, right? You have a very invested and service-minded individual in Platte County who uses our various libraries to the benefit of the people she serves. And this is the reality of the library experience. And so thank you. We really appreciate it. And Linda, if you want to say anything, you can. If you don't, you don't have to. But
I thank you. I mean, it was just leaving my old job to this job was a really big transition because I made a lot more money than I kind of did what you guys did, you know, and just taking that step was hard. You know, the thing that they don't tell you in videos that even though you transition, there's still issues everywhere you go. You know what I mean? But you still, you know, you become positive throughout life, you know, and I think that's like something I wanted to share, just like that it doesn't matter where you're at. Like, I think our farmers, like I call them the adults with disabilities, they just bring love and acceptance wherever they're at. And I think that's something that we can do everywhere. And even in your own facility here, you know, it's really important when you go into a room that you're sharing your hearts, but it's also you're looking at positive things. You know, it really does change a room. I think I've learned that the most there. It's just that how the energy of a room is so important, like in any field, you know, and I think that's my big thing that I've taken away from just being there is just like how the positive attitude and the just a positive outlook really does change like people's lives and, you know, atmosphere. And I love the library. We love the library. Just I know them. And just all the, I don't know, just the new libraries that are coming out in Northland has been kind of exciting. And I love the library. So I was so excited when they say that's what you do. You take them to the library. I'm like, oh, this is great. Anyway, so anyway, we love the library. So thank you so much for, you know, getting it all straight.
all right, thank you, Linda.
And then I found there's somebody from Pittsburgh here. So. You Steelers. Okay,
That concludes my report for today. Again, thank you. And there'll be more videos to come in the coming months. All right, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Linda, and thank you, Eric, for making this possible. Okay, committee reports. Committee reports, finance and audit committee.
Finance meeting will be short. I can't top that, but we had our meeting Thursday, just went through financials. The only thing of substance is that staff is engaged with CPA firms regarding the upcoming audit, and we'll have a proposal for us in April. Okay, that's it.
Any questions? All right, thank you. Building committees?
Thank you. We're scheduled to meet next Thursday, but really don't have a massive agenda. So we're not going to meet next Thursday. Next month, we'll have some real issues, maintenance, cost about maintenance. So again, we're not meeting next week, but we'll certainly meet next month.
Okay, thank you. Fundraising?
So there's a couple pictures of Riverside and East Independence. I mean, we are moving along and plan, you know, our openings will come in late April or late June, late May or June. But they're doing great work at Ben and Side both branches. And they just look absolutely beautiful.
Thank you. Fundraising development?
We did not meet as a committee, but I do have some information to pass on to you. And later, Diana. April 3rd is Library Giving Day, and you should have found at your places a bookmark QR code on the other side of that. Diana wanted me to mention to you that the proceeds from this year's Library Giving Day campaign will solely be used for the Forever Book Fund. This fund allows our Reading Rocket team to purchase new books to give to children during outreach visits throughout the year. Reading Rocket team needs about $30,000 a year. The foundation has agreed to match funds 1-to-1, and so we have a goal for this campaign in particular to raise $10,000, which would mean $20,000 for the annual need of 30. So encourage you to share that information with those, your circles. Let's see, also, just that we're working on a date for the legacy luncheon this summer. And we'll know hopefully by the next meeting when that will be.
I just want to comment that a companion effort with the committee is the Library Lovers. There was a lovely gathering this past month, and I'll repeat my monthly shameless push that if anybody wishes to join, it's a time and effort well spent. So Personnel Committee.
Personnel Committee did not meet this month, but we will be meeting in April because we'll be discussing the personnel portion of it.
Thank you. Technology.
So we didn't meet. We will be meeting in April again to talk about the budget. But I did want to bring your attention to a couple of things that we have going on. We have a new series, new author event series that we have going on for the next year called Facing the Future. And we're bringing some authors in from around the country to talk to us about emerging technologies and how AI and algorithms are affecting the social media that we all consume. And so we're really excited about that. We have our new digital innovation department headed by Erin Kennedy, and she's kind of spearheading that. I want to thank Jim Staley and Diana for helping us work on that series also. But our first event is April 13th, Saturday, April 13th at 2 p.m. We have Tobias Rose Stockwell. He is the author of Outrage Machine. His book is about how algorithms are shaping our social media feeds, kind of a history lesson about how that's all coming together. I read the book. It's really, really good. And so I'm looking forward to him speaking here. The next one we have is June 20th. That is Kashmir Hill. And she is the author of Your Face Belongs to Us. And she's also a technology reporter for the New York Times. And she'll be here at 6 p.m. on Thursday, June 20th. So that's another one to look forward to. And in the future, we're partnering with the Kansas City AI Club to do a panel discussion with local technology leaders. So be sometime around the 1st of August, but I'll keep you all up to date on that. And if you want to go to mymcpl.org facing the future, you can sign up for those events. And info about the program is there. And I do want to say that all of this was funded by the Kauffman Foundation, and we are very thankful for their support in helping us get this series going. But want to let you all know that that's coming up and something we're really excited about is going on. So, yeah, thank you.
That's Brian.
Yep.
Okay, thank you all for committee reports. John.
Thank you. Good evening. Gonna look at the next slide.
Yep.
Next two, excuse me. We'll start our financial summary tonight with a look at our tax revenue for the first 8 months of this fiscal year compared to the first 8 months of last fiscal year. Our taxes are $62.5 million, about a $4 million or a 7% increase over the prior year. Comparing taxes collected year to date to our budget, we're at 96.85%. Same period last year, we were at 95.31%, so we're just slightly higher than we were last year. The chart below it is a comparison of the first 8 months of the fiscal year for each of the fiscal years listed so that you have an apples to apples comparison. That's the blue bar. The orange line are current taxes, and the gray line are the lump taxes collected for that period. There's a question going on to the next slide. This is an analysis of our cash flow projection for the current fiscal year. We have actual collections from July through February, which were the first 2 columns. So really the projection is just March through June. Wasn't a substantial change over our earlier projection. We wanted to present this for your all's consideration. Moving on to the next slide is looking at the general fund. Again, the data at the top of the page is comparing budget with actual for the current fiscal year. The chart below is the same time period, the first 8 months of the fiscal year, comparing revenues and expenditures for those fiscal years noted. So our revenues are, we've collected 96% of our revenues through the first 8 months, excuse me. And our expenditures are 46.5 million. Roughly 67% of our budget has been spent year to date. Moving on to the next slide. Very similar looking slide. This is for the capital project fund. Our revenues are just over 10.1 million, which is just slightly higher than what we were projected. That's pretty much adjustments in investment income. And our expenditures in the what's known as the Proposition L or the capital program is just over 9.9 million. All expenses are just under 10.1 million. Our expenditures year to date are around 60% of our budget. And then the last slide I have for you tonight is looking at the health insurance fund. Our revenues are 2.8 million, which is about 63% of the budget. And our expenditures are 2.9 million, which is about 63% of the budget as well. So we're online with what we have projected. And we're currently in a position of expenditures over revenues of about $128,000 for the year. Those are all of my remarks. I'd be happy to answer any questions you all may have.
Any questions? To new business.
Right. Oh, excuse me. Jeremy, do you want to go over the memo and staff recommendations for the non-binding levy?
Sure. The memo that you have attached, that was attached to your board packet and is on our board docs site as well. Just lays out the nuts and bolts of this non-assessment process that's laid out in state law. We're required by April 8th of every year to provide a non-binding levy to the counties, 3 counties, so they can prepare a, sort of preliminary look at what a tax assessment would look like for their county. And historically, the library has used the ceiling rate for the non-binding levy, knowing that if any adjustments occur to assess valuation, that would increase the revenue beyond what our Hancock limitations are. We'd obviously roll that levy back according to state law. So for purposes of what we need to submit on April 8th, staff is recommending 0.3116, which would be a fully restored levy with the Hancock rollback. That's all that. As the levy that we would recommend to you all for 2024.
All right, thank you. Is there a resolution to read or?
Was a resolution prepared for the board on this?
We don't need a formal resolution for the non-binding levy. We just need a vote. So I believe.
But the resolution is what we voted on.
So I'll just make the motion and read the approval of staff. Approval to recommend to the board non-binding levy set at 0.3116 per hundred of assessed valuation for purpose of the non-binding levy submission to the counties.
Okay, second. Discussion.
Okay, I just want to comment, I view this as a procedural matter. In the past, and Jeremy referenced it, a few years ago, this was set at the, what's the proper term? It's not statutory levy, it's the It's the approved levy of 0.40, and that raised a bunch of eyebrows at Jackson especially. I think 2 years ago, it was then deemed to be, if we would set it at the Hancock adjusted levy, and that's what the 3.3116 is. That is the statutory levy adjusted for Hancock. So it's 0.40, and Hancock adjustments brings it down to 3.116. So I view this as two different things. This is a procedural matter to get the levy on file with the county to satisfy this requirement with the counties. And then the levy and the budget matter are to be dealt with over the next 2 or 3 months. And they are different things.
Any other discussion? Teresa?
Trustee Whitecall. Trustee Weiss. Except the non-binding.
That's it. You're just voting on the 990.
Okay, aye.
Trustee Thies. Trustee Pandolfi. Aye. Trustee Lazio.
Yes.
Trustee Step. Trustee Wilson.
Yes.
Trustee Cook.
Aye.
Trustee Virgo. Aye. Trustee Johnson.
Aye.
Trustee Gray.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, yes, thank you. Announcements?
Yeah, so we have a few announcements. I can read them. There we go. March 31st is Easter Sunday. All Mid-Continent Public Library locations will be closed. April 3rd through 5th is the Public Library Association Annual Conference in Columbus, Ohio. So we would love to be there. My understanding that a few trustees are joining us. Let me see. May 14th. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, so May 14th is the budget meeting that will be held at headquarters and online. And then let me see, then on May 27th, Memorial Day, all Mid-Continent Public Libraries will be closed. So that's what we have there.
Questions? Comments? Next matter is trustee comments.
Just a comment, Gordon referenced the Hancock Amendment. Remember, that was an initiative petition. The citizens put that on. I say that because the legislature is trying to change that. Probably doesn't belong at this meeting, but I want to at least say that.
Any other comments?
This is Marcy Gray. Last Saturday, I had the pleasure of attending a genetic genealogy seminar at the MGC. I was taken aback as I drove into the parking lot. I was running a few minutes, well, not really behind, but sort of on time, and had a hard time finding a place to park. It appeared to be a sold out event. It was a wonderful full day, an excellent presentation, and the gentleman that the library brought in was extremely knowledgeable in the subject matter of using genetic information, DNA technology, to help researchers research their family tree. So I just want to give a shout out to the staff that put that together and to say it was a wonderful day. And I think if I heard correctly, they had somebody from as far away as 8 hours away who flew in for the event. And any number of folks who came in anywhere from across town to 2 to 4 hours away who drove in for this event began around 9-ish in the morning and concluded around 4 p.m. It's excellent. Look forward to more of those.
It really was. Richie's team did an excellent job putting that event together. Yeah, I too, when I pulled in the parking lot, forgive me, all you genealogists, but it looked like a rock show. Like there was a line outside the door at 8:15 and doors opened at 8:30. It was truly remarkable. It's excellent customer service. It was a great presentation. Part of it that I heard, but it was magnificent. So, thank you.
Any other comments, questions, please?
I have a question, that is,
Does anybody know what happens to the books that would be pulled out of the old Riverside Library when their book collection goes into the new one?
Richie, can you tell us a little bit about how we're managing that?
Most of the books that were pulled out of the old Riverside will probably be distributed between the new Riverside and East Independence. We did not have an open day collection for that, so we're just redistributing the books to build that new library is coming up. So they'll still be in our kind of system, but just not housed that way.
Any comments?
Yeah, I do.
Please.
I just want to wish you and your wife a happy 50th wedding anniversary.
I suffered through. I forgot we're on YouTube, but anyway. Okay, just a couple of comments in no particular order. At an incredibly early time in the morning, I just happened to catch Fox 4. And to mention what was stated earlier, Sam was the branch manager. And she had Grandview police officers come and meet with the community as a cops and coffee sort of thing. And it was just such an amazing positive thing to see that was done there. Another remarkably good thing was at the Story Center, there was a presentation a couple weeks ago from one of the people here in the headquarters on different literary genres. Now, there's a lot of folks who actually are writing their own books, and in some cases in connection with the genealogy and family stories, where those skills can be becoming more developed through what Mark and his people offer there. And this presentation with different genres and historical romance and all that, all of which could be tied into a host of other writing efforts that are offered. Just in my case, I happen to be having a very fanciful idea about maybe planting some trees, and lo and behold, on one of the library offerings at YouTube was an amazingly well-presented program on planting trees, fruit trees and so forth, in connection with not only our people here in the library, but with the Missouri Conservation Department, folks being tapped in from, I believe, Jeff City. Another thing that, again, this is no particular order, I apologize, I forgot the source of this, but for different Northland high schools, the kids are asked, what's your favorite place to go to study? And of course, Starbucks was within the top 4, but 2 of the top 4 were branches that are libraries, which I think says a lot. And I think, my last comment, I think that when we reflect upon what Linda said, and with much appreciation to Teresa and many others who put up these pictures of these kids, it strikes me as that this is why we're here as taxpayers, as voters, and as users of the library. And even though we deal on the system using words, I think these pictures and your presentation, spoken words, explain best. Any other comments? Unheard of. It's only 40 minutes into this, so is there a motion to adjourn?
I so move.
Second?
I'll second.
I know there's no discussion. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.